Good morning, traders. I am Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, February 11th. Green to start the week. Wall Street kicked off this week on a high note yesterday. All three major indices closed in the green. The Dow gained 167 points, or 0.38%. The S&P 500 picked up 40 points, or 0.67%. The Nasdaq added 190 points, or about 1%. Bill, let's get into Tuesday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.26% this morning. There's a lot going on. I mean, the big news out there is President Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. That's across the board. That's going to affect everyone. So, that's the major news item out there. But, he also signed an executive order last night, which is directing the Department of Justice to pause enforcements of a 1977 law that prohibits U.S. companies from bribing foreign officials. So we're not going to enforce it anymore. So I guess you can do that. We got buy yields. Buy yields are ticking higher. Because why? Because Powell's going to be speaking today. He's got 2 days of testimony starting today on Capitol Hill. The prepared marks of what he's going to say, that's probably going to be available on Dow Jones, at around 9 a.m. So I'm keeping a keen eye out for that. G/Fed if you want a news code. They've got NVS, they're buying Anthos Therapeutics from Blackstone for $3.1 billion. Elon Musk makes a big bid for OpenAI, which was immediately rejected and kind of ridiculed by OpenAI. President Trump, hey, he's meeting with the Crown Prince of Jordon today. That could be something. We saw earnings beats come in from DuPont, Coca-Cola, LDOS, Carrier Group. Their shares are all trading higher. And after the bell today, you got Gilead, Dash, AIG, Zillow, SMCI, and LYFT. They're all scheduled to report. Taking a look at the action, in Europe right now. And, listen, they're fluctuating back and forth, but, the DAX is higher. The DAX is higher by 16 points. The key thing here is that, the healthcare stocks are rising in Germany, but the EU intends to retaliate against those latest tariffs sometime soon. But since the tariffs don't take effect till March, they got a long time to negotiate. I don't see these reciprocal tariffs happening, in the short term. The FTSE's trading higher by 5 points, or 0.7%. You got the oil stocks trading higher again today. That's positive. The CAC is lower by 1 point. I mean, unemployment data is in focus in France. Unemployment fell to 7.3% against expectations of 7.5%. So that's actually positive. Wouldn't be surprised if the CAC index turns positive later today. Then we're moving over in Asia. We're starting off with the Nikkei, which was closed for a national holiday last night. Hong Kong fell 1.06% with weakness in autos and tech stocks. China fell 0.12%. Markets digesting the latest, tariff actions by President Trump. That's really the key focus there. Then we're turning our attention to oil, and oil is trading higher. It's up 1.4% this morning. WTI is at $73.36 a barrel. Brent is at $77 a barrel. Okay. It's supply risks. I mean, you have Russia's output is below what their OPEC quote is. You got Iran with those new sanctions that are targeted. That's causing them an issue. And so we are seeing some supply risks in the oil sector, with respect to the recent actions that have been occurring. But we'll keep an eye on that all day today. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, juggling a number of factors today, and you did mention that we are anticipating some commentary from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, which will be widely watched. And you even mentioned that you may even able to grab those comments ahead of his actual speech. So we'll get to that more in a moment. But before we break down all the economic events of the day, we've got to turn to earnings action. Still some companies to note here. So let's dive in. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
Coca-Cola, ticker KO, they beat by 3 cents. They did it on higher revenue. That stock's up 3.18%. Shopify trading all over the board this morning. It hit 120. Shopify hit 125 this morning, trading 115 today, but they delivered a beat on higher revenue. Wasn't a bad report. Marriott, ticker MAR, Michael Apple Richard, they beat by 7 cents on higher revenue, but their guidance wasn't great. And that stock's down 2.36%. So, and then we have, number of upcoming earnings after the bell. We got Gilead, ticker GILD, their EPS is $1.66. Expected move is 4.75%. DoorDash, ticker DASH, their EPS is 34 cents. Expected move is 9.60%. In Supermicro, SMCI, Sam Michael Charlie India, their EPS 63 cents. Expected move 21.83% when they release after the bell. Emily.
A quick note here, Shopify was your pick of the day yesterday. You did mention it was all over the board, but we're going to see if you had a chance for a win there with that one by the end of the show. So stick with us through that. Turning now to economic events. Again, really the main focus here today is Fed speak, and not least of which is that commentary from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. So Bill, give us a breakdown. What is going on in terms of economic events?
No real reports, but in terms of Fed speak, we got a lot of Fed speak. 8:50 a.m. this morning, we're going to hear from Cleveland Fed Bank President Beth Hammack. Then at 10 a.m., Jerome Powell, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, he's going to be starting his 2 days of testimony for a semi-annual monetary policy report to the Senate this morning. And then there's New York Fed John Williams. He's going to be speaking at 3:30 p.m. as well as Fed Governor Michelle Baumann. She's also speaking at 3:30 p.m. In terms of Powell, I mean, hey, the lawmakers are going to question Powell about the economic impact of Trump's recent tariff announcements and potential future trade actions. I mean, that's going to be key. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them touched on the idea of, what Powell's thoughts on should, President Trump have a vote on the Fed's board for, interest rate decisions. That's not going to happen. But topics like crypto regulation, bank oversight, and allegations of debanking may also come up. So it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of fireworks there today. But but Powell starts to speak at 10 a.m. this morning, and it's going to be a key news event throughout the day, Emily.
And with that key news event, you did tell us that sometimes those comments are available ahead of that prepared speech, and you have a Fed alert set up for that. So if they do hit the tape, you'll be the first to see it. You'll also be able to follow along throughout the this speech and following the comments to see, what is Wall Street thinking. Also, you're looking at those other Fed comments today. You're able to follow all of that and your earnings action and more types of news, all using your NewsWare. You're also looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news today. You group your stocks together, like your FANG stocks or your Dow 30 stocks, following those each and every trading day. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 11 higher, 18 lower, and 1 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm seeing weakness across the board. Everything's down about 0.5%. Looking at some of the news behind it, like Google. Google's DeepMind CEO, he came out there and said DeepSix $5.6 million training costs claim is exaggerated and a little bit misleading. Yeah, I can see that. Meta's curbing privacy terms over new product releases. That's not really good. But Tesla's in trouble. BYD, I mean, they're going to be offering free smart driving technology with their vehicles. Tesla's planning on charging for it. BYD is going to give it free. That's an issue for them for sales in China. I guarantee it. Cisco times the Dow Jones 30. Cisco's announcing new smart switches, which are described as adaptive and scalable for AI. That's positive, I think. Cisco's earnings are out tomorrow afternoon. Goldman Sachs, Trump's executive order to cease investigations on violations of anti-bribery law. That Goldman Sachs has the money to spend. I wouldn't be surprised if they get deals off of that. In terms of merger news, Tesla, Elon Musk makes a $97.4 billion bid for control of OpenAI. Sam Altman says no thank you and offers to buy Twitter for $9.74 billion. Remember, Musk paid $44 billion for that Twitter. NVS, they're buying, that's Novartis, they're buying Anthos Therapeutics from Blackstone for up to $3.1 billion. But let's hit some guidance news. MedSpace, MEDP, Michael Edward, David Paul. They see full year 2025 EPS $11.93 to $12.69. Street estimates $12.29. Okay, it's in the middle. SelectQuote, ticker SLQT. their full year 2025 revenue view was 1.5 billion to 1.575 billion. Street estimates was 1.46 billion. That's an uptick. Marriott, ticker MAR, Michael Apple Richard, they see full year 2025 adjusted EPS $9.82 to $10.19. Street estimates $10.63. That's a big downtick. That's why you're seeing Marriott sell off. DuPont, ticker DD, David, they see full year 2025 adjusted EPS $4.30 to $4.40. Street estimates $4.31. So that's kind of an uptick, the way I look at it. What else do we have in shareholders meetings? I mentioned this yesterday. UBS and Bank of America, they're having financial services conferences this week. In terms of buyback, Harmonic, ticker HLIT, Henry, Larry, India, Tom, they announced a 200 million share buyback. PaySafe, ticker PSFE, Paul, Sam, Frank, Edward, they announced an increase of $70 million to the share repurchasing program. And that's really what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Going with the ticker Z as in zebra. This is the Zillow Group. Hey, earnings are after the bell. EPS is 29 cents. Expected move is 10.03%. There's a lot of room for this stock to run. Yesterday's call volume, 5,143 calls versus put volume of 2,806. Yeah, that's nice. Open interest, 72,587 versus 49,710. Again, positive. Major brokers in January, you saw a lot of these major brokers, they were increasing price targets on Zillow Group, ticker Z. So I like to see that. But listen, I think the market's going to open up weak, and I think it's going to affect all stocks. I mean, you look at Zillow Group trading 88.25. I think it pushes down lower. I think, we're going to have an opportunity to get in 87.50. So that's my entry range. I'm looking at 87.50 because I do expect to see some weakness in this morning. But I like Zillow Group, for like a move this afternoon into earnings, Emily, and that's my pick of the day. Z is Zillow Group.
Zillow Group, it is today, looking for that discount and then seeing if we can get a gain as the stock runs into earnings. And yesterday's pick of the day, as we pointed out, was another stock that you picked running into earnings. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, what do we see here? SRTS, they resumed purchasing under their stock under a 3 million share repurchasing program. Kellogg, ticker KLG, their stock's up 6% as profit beats overshadow sales miss. Wyndham Hotels, WH, they renewed a co-branded credit card with Barclays. Got that inflation report tomorrow. Chevron struggles to replace oil and gas reserves amid the Hess Steel limbo. Toronto Dominion Bank said it's going to offload its entire 10% stake in Charles Schwab for about $14.6 billion. It's part of the strategic review. Schwab is doing a secondary in order to come up with cash for that purchase. That's what I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Shopify, as we mentioned earlier in the show. I did just catch a price target raise by Citigroup on the stock. And this morning, they did release earnings, as you told us. For the fourth quarter, Shopify reported earnings per share of 44 cents. That did surpass analyst expectations. Revenues rose to $2.81 billion from $2.14 billion. Analysts had expected revenue of $2.72 billion, so a beat there. Monthly recurring revenue did come in falling short of expectations at $178 million. Analysts were looking for $182.4 million. But Merchant Solutions revenue beat expectations along with their subscription revenue. So some positives there, kind of a mixed bag. For the first quarter, the company forecasts revenue to grow at a mid-20s% rate on a year-over-year basis. Analysts had forecast revenue increasing about 24.5%. Digging into the numbers, Bill, there was a little bit of a run in the stock. It did take a hit following that earnings report. But let's hear how you did. How did your call work out?
Shopify worked out. I mean, any way you look at it, it worked out. I mean, you look at the way it traded off of the opening price, and the stock opened up at 121.46, and then it ran. It ran to 123.40. So that was nice. My entry price was 119.40. And it did hit it late in the day. It did hit that 119.40 late in the day, and then boom, it rallied towards the end of the close. And you want to know something? This morning it was trading 125. It was trading 125 this morning. So the 1% was easily there. But sometimes the market forces are with you, and I. This was not a bad report. Market is punishing a little bit this morning, but I wouldn't. But it wasn't a bad report. But listen, we go for 1%. Was there a 1% gain there available sometime throughout the day? Whether you got in at the opening price or my entry price, you could have made 1%. That's our goal. And, we don't get greedy. We just want consistency. And that's what we did with Shopify. Shopify winner, Emily.
A winner there, not a bad report and not a bad pick. You were able to get in a gain there. We will check in with you tomorrow about today's Zillow Group pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.